Now, with the new release of Insidious 5 this Friday, I figured why not talk about the original movie. I've never reviewed the first one, I've never really talked about the first one, but let's go all the way back to 2011 and let's talk about a classic?
Here's Johnny. My mom always said life was like a box of chocolates.
Expecto Patronum!
Insidious stars Patrick Wilson, Rose Byrne, and Lynn Shaye, and is about a family looks to prevent evil spirits from trapping their comatose child in a realm called the Furtherer. From director James Wan, before he did the Conjuring franchise, Aquaman, Furious 7, before he was just known as one of the best horror directors of the 2010s, he had to start with Insidious, and yes, he did direct the first Saw movie in 2004, Dead Silence. But Insidious, to me, is where they were like, there's something there, because like I said, this movie came out all the way back in 2011, it's been 12 years, and let me just say, it premiered in TIFF in 2010, but it didn't come out until theaters until 2011, so that's why a lot of it says 2010. But I remember when this movie was coming out, I believe I was either at the beginning of 6th grade or the end of 5th grade, and everyone I knew around me, my age, was talking about this movie is one of the scariest movies I saw, and I remember my dad really dropping me off with my friend, and we went and saw it because it was PG-13 in a theater that was packed. We sat there and I literally got like shivers up my spine and I got jump scared the entire movie, and I had a great time with this movie, and ever since then I really appreciate this movie, and I have not watched it in a long time. So if you've not seen Insidious, this review will contain spoilers. It's been out for 12 years. You go watch it, I recommend it, but this movie it holds up. It really does. Now, is it a perfect horror movie? No, I'm not gonna give this movie an A+ or anything, but I can say this. You watch this movie, and this movie is really just way better than a lot of just plain horror movies because of James Wan, the cinematography, and that amazing score. Watching this movie tonight was really awesome because the cinematography in this movie is really nice to look at. One of my favorite shots is when Rose Byrne hears something on the baby monitor and she walks to the stairs and she looks up while listening. The camera follows her but goes to the stairs and then up to the roof, and then you hear the noise and then it cuts back to her and then we get a big jump scare. Like, that little detail in the cinematography is so good, and the movie's filled with great camera work and that James Wan's isms that has a lot of handheld cam with a lot of in-scope kind of stuff in persons. But the best thing about James Wan's films is when he has jump scares, it's not a cat jumping out of a closet. No, every jump scare in this movie is a valid, scary image figure and a loud, scary noise that you're seeing and hearing, and it's a perfect jump scare. The worst jump scares are literally like when people are talking whatever and their friend jumps out saying, "Hey," and it's a big loud jump scare. That is just, no one wants to watch a scary movie and be scared from that. They want to be scared by a freaking creepy red-faced demon with a long tongue staring at you through a window. Like, that stuff is creepy, and this movie, it gets up my spine, man, watching this movie tonight. I mean, there are so many jump scares that are just so well done. When Rose Byrne's looking at the window and there's a person walking back and forth, and when they come back, they're inside, and it is absolutely just so good to watch a scary movie take things that you would know and just flip it on its head and then give you that scare. James Wan's atmosphere in this movie is literally perfect. There's a reason why he's become the best director in horror, a lot of people say. This movie really gets to see that and gets to see a lot of his creative abilities put into the story. Now, speaking of the story and the characters, Rose Byrne and Patrick Wilson are very good in this movie. They're not like amazing or anything, but when Lynn Shaye shows up, she just brings a happy just smile to your face, but obviously her entire intention is to stop these demons from this boy boy being captured who's stuck in this coma, and that entire aspect is really interesting. And I love the first half of the movie where Rose Byrne is like basically stuck in this house while Patrick Wilson's at work, and there's just creepy crap happening. Once Lin Shaye shows up, the movie becomes more entertaining scary than just downright like scary, if that makes any sense. It's kind of like, it feels like a haunted house, especially when they go in the furtherer. Like, that entire sequence is really bone chilling, but it's got a lot of nice scares, and it feels like you're going through different rooms, whatever, with Patrick Wilson, and it's really fun and enjoyable. But like I said, there's a ton of scares in this movie that just give you that vibe of just atmosphere, creepy crawling stuff, and with these characters, they give you enough to where him being put in the coma, you care for the family enough. It's not like a deep character drive movie, but I do have a big issue, and I might be the only one to say this, I'm not really sure. I really don't like the entire subplot of basically Lin Shaye knowing Patrick Wilson. As a kid, he went through this. He's the only one that can go save your son. That entire aspect of the movie, I don't like, and I don't think it's needed. Now, with the franchise and the second one, and with this new one coming out, it looks like it definitely goes more into Patrick Wilson and all that kind of stuff, but in the second one, it's him that's one that gets, like, possessed or whatever, and not the boy. So that's why I guess it's there for the lore and to expand on. But for this solo one movie, just watching it as one movie, it feels out of place. It feels like it's not necessary. And speaking of Patrick Wilson's character, the scene where he literally tells Lin Shaye and her two guy friends to fuck off, basically, literally the next scene, it's like a 2-minute scene of him emotionally saying to his son, please wake up, and then they're instantly back in the house. There was no point for his character arc to kick them out after they've moved houses and he believes his wife, for him not to believe her and not the whole situation, kicks him out. 2 minutes later, they're back in the house. It's pointless. I don't know why it's in the movie. He should just believed him and just went on with the movie. But no, it's just there and it bothers me. Obviously, how this movie ends, I really like this ending. I won't talk a lot about it, just in case you haven't seen it, even though I've spoiled a lot. For the ending, for people's sake, if you haven't seen it, I won't talk a lot about the ending, but I love the ending. I really do. And I loved it as a solo movie. Obviously, this movie has a franchise. There's going to be 5 movies. But for this one movie, it's creepy. It's pretty scary imagery stuff. You have nice actors doing nice jobs. And my God, it was a $1.5 million budget, and it made $100 million. So obviously they made a franchise, but you had to start somewhere, and James Wan definitely put a stamp in horror with this movie. I think it gets a lot better in The Conjuring and a lot of other movies, but this movie needed to happen for James Wan to be who he is, and I really like this movie. I'm going to give Insidious a B+. So if you've not watched the original Insidious, I definitely recommend it. It's got great scary imagery, very good jump scares, great atmosphere. It's what James Wan needed so he could go do The Conjuring. The Conjuring to me is like classic A+ movie. I love The Conjuring, and I think it changed a lot of what horror movies were doing back then, but you couldn't have The Conjuring without Insidious, and this movie is definitely worth a watch. Hopefully the new one's good, but I have a really bad feeling. I don't know. Hopefully it's good. I hope it's good. I'm seeing it Thursday night, so expect a review for that next. But thank you if you enjoyed this review, and I hope we can do some more. I really like doing old movies, so maybe we can do a lot more of these. Anyway, guys enjoyed this review. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye, everybody!